Diet Coke. I'm convinced Diet Coke can fix the hole in my heart. You know what I mean?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Humans in Accounting, where firm owners share their stories behind the spreadsheets. I'm Alex Roman, and this podcast is brought to you by South Offices, connecting accounting talent across borders. Today, I am really happy to have our guest, Michael Eckstein, owner and resting business space. And in this episode, we'll be talking about many different things. But yeah, I'm super excited to have you here as our guest, Michael. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Looking forward to it.
Great. Well, we've seen each other just a few weeks ago. I remember we said goodbye at the
Yeah.
airport. Now I am back in Argentina, and you. Well, let's start because I have too many questions that I want to ask you. Tell me a little bit about your background. I want to know a little bit about your story, how you started, yeah, how you started
Gotcha.
resting business space. That'll be great.
Gotcha. So to go back to the beginning, I have an accounting degree from college, right? My dad kind of tricked me into it. He's an accountant and he was like, "Oh, it's a good career. You should be an accountant." So I became an accountant, right? I started out working for him. Eventually, as I feel like a lot of accountants do, started taking my own clients on the side, and it slowly grew. Now there's two separate practices. There's his and there's mine. Um, Resting Business Face, the current firm, I got started a few years ago, two maybe 3 years ago, but I first started taking my own clients probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
Right, that name wasn't as clever. I was just Eckstein Tax Services back then, right?
Hmm.
But I guess it got the job done, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Now we're here.
Perfect. And so you started with and your father has his own firm. He has continued
Yep.
with that other firm. All right. Perfect.
Yeah, he has his own firm. He's also a solo. I we do similar things, and I do a lot of his boring grunt work. The
Okay.
things that you trick your kid into doing accounting for, and you're like, you can do this now. So I still do some of that for him, but yeah,
Perfect. I need to ask you a bit before recording this episode. I was looking at your website. I need to tell you, and I'm telling people from the future watching this on YouTube or watching this podcast, you should definitely check restingbusinessface.com. I want to ask you, I don't know, I feel like it's all the information that you need to have in just one spot. I feel that this is something definitely, and I'm guessing,
uh,
this is my guess. I'm pretty sure that you built this by yourself or you
yeah,
had someone. Yes, but
yeah,
let me ask you about that. This is something. What is this? You had like a template, or you had a
yep.
company built, or you also are a software developer?
Um, the website is WordPress based with the Divi visual builder on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
And it's great because basically, if you continue reading, you have all the information that you need to. Yeah,
yeah,
the most important things, the plans, how you work, the pricing, what you do, everything. I
yeah. No, I
really.
I have strong feelings on accounting websites. Um, I don't know. I feel like a lot of accounting websites don't say anything at all on it, and like that's cool. Whatever works for everyone. But like I know when I'm looking for a service provider, I would just like the answers without having to contact them. I
Right,
want to know what's included. I want to know about them. I want to know basic pricing. So I pretty much put together the website I would have wanted to see, right? To
right.
try and answer as many questions up front, right? And there's
Do,
still some
do,
tweaks I have to do to it, but
but do you have this feedback often, like when they schedule the first call, or is it just me who just loves this website? I don't know. I feel I'm constantly looking at other websites because of what we do
yeah,
here in South Offices. feel they're
Yeah.
all the same. In your
Yeah.
case, well, you talk a little bit about you, right? So maybe
Yeah.
that helps as well.
Yeah, no, I've heard it from other people. So the nice thing for the people, I guess, that don't know, I specialize in small marketing agencies, right? So I do hear it a lot from clients and potential clients who are all marketers themselves. So I'm like, all right, if a marketer or a web designer or a copywriter, whoever is saying it, then all right, then it's a pretty good website, especially for one I built myself. So it was free, you
Right,
know.
right. That's great. Well, actually, now you mentioned that, and this is something that I wanted to ask you. I know that
Uh-huh.
you've talked a lot about niching. Tell me a little bit, like,
Yeah.
what's your ideal client? Who, yeah,
Hmm.
who's your ideal client?
Yeah. So I think I'm a little bit against the grain on this. I like the small business, small marketing agency making under $1 million. I know
Mhm.
the industry loves moving up market and everyone has to be CFO, but I don't know. I'm kind of used to the dumpster fire that is micro businesses, and I like working with marketers, you
And
know.
why? Do you know that?
Um, there is no good why. I feel like a lot of people come on these podcasts and are just like they were hiking the mountains and they had a revelation and they're like, I have to specialize in XYZ. For me, it was more I'm interested in marketing. I can talk to marketers about it, have something in common with them. And there's certain accounting nuances they don't have much of, right? So marketers typically don't have a lot of sales tax. They typically don't have a lot of depreciation, you know.
Mhm.
And I know someone's listening to this at home, like they can have those and they can have those, but it's a totally different beast than say an e-com business or real estate investors, right? Um yeah, it's just they're good to work with and straightforward, which is never the answer anyone has. The traditional wisdom is that you should do something unique and complex. So you offer something unique to the market and there's less competition. And
Right,
like I get that, but like um if I do complex work, this is the rest of my life. You know what I mean? I'm not
right.
trying to build a complex firm for the rest of my life. I would like it to be easy. And I don't know.
Okay, no, no, no. That's a fair answer, and I think
Yeah.
yeah, it makes completely sense. And what about, have you ever, I don't know, someone who's not like I don't know, have you ever gotten contacted by maybe a bigger firm that you said, hey, I'm not sure if you're the right or the ideal
Yeah.
client. How does that work? Do you still like provide services despite the fact that maybe, or you just stay with this niche that you just said?
It depends. It
Hmm.
depends how off niche they are and if they have any sort of areas I don't touch. Like I
Right.
don't do sales tax. So if they have sales tax, either they can outsource it somewhere else, but I'm not going to help with it. Um, Sometimes there are businesses that come in that are larger and I suggest they go elsewhere depending on their needs. Because for me,
Okay.
one of the nice things about being solo and being stable, right, is that I don't need to win the next client, or the next lead or whatever. So the calls are much more about is this a good fit for both of us? And sometimes when they're large, it just isn't right for them,
Hmm.
and I'm comfortable saying that to them and being like, you should look somewhere else. Here's a friend that, specializes. Maybe actually, someone just the other day, I was like, you need a controller. You don't need me doing the little old thing. You need someone that can really take over your back office and everything. It's like, I have one or two friends that can do it, but I'll tell you right now, it ain't me. I'm not even going to pretend
Okay.
it's me. It's not.
It's so important to identify that right away, instead of pushing it and trying to make it work, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna realize in the long run why, why haven't I said that? And you are saying it, so I think that's great. Just to clarify, you do tax, you do bookkeeping, and you do consulting advisory.
Exactly. Predominantly tax, but a little bit of everything.
All right. Yeah. Perfect, perfect. I wanted just to ask you, where are you? Where are you at this moment? Or let me ask you, where do you live? I know the answer for this question, but
Yeah.
answer that question.
So
Where do you live, Michael?
so right now I'm in Austin, right? If
Okay.
you look online, my office is on Long Island, but for like the last, I want to say since August or so, I've been a nomad and I'm just kind of working out at Airbnbs here or there. Just because, I realized I can, like how many opportunities will any of us have to kind of work and be on the road and this and that? And I was like, this is the moment. And if I don't do it now, I don't want to like turn around in like 30 years and be like, I should have fucking done that. Damn. So right now I'm in Austin. I've spent some time in New Orleans, Florida, the Carolinas, Montreal. Don't know where I'm going next, honestly. I keep telling myself Colorado, but we still haven't booked it. So we'll see.
Uh, I love this. I am sure. I don't know how I am sure of what I'm gonna say, but I am sure that if you would have never done this in 30 years from now, you would have said to yourself, "Why haven't I done this?" But
Yeah.
it's impossible to make that assumption, but I'm sure that would have been the case. So it's great, and I'm sure that in the near future you're gonna go to Colorado. How do you decide? Like you say, all right, I'll stay here. You usually stay a month, a few days. How does this work? I'm curious, and this
So
is something that I wish I mean, I guess I had the opportunity and I never done that. And I look at you and I say, hey, that Michael is doing everything correctly.
yeah, so I tend to stay in places for a month at a time, right?
Hmm.
Part of that is to get a better deal on Airbnbs, so it's not ultra
Right.
expensive. Some of that is so I can have some sense of normalcy and actually work, right? Because if you're
Hmm.
moving too frequently, you're never actually getting any work done. You're packing, unpacking, that sort of thing. And since I'm solo, I got to keep working to actually afford all this. But I kind of travel to not be a snowbird, but be a snowbird and chase the kind of nice weather. Right. So that is
Okay.
part of the reason I'll be leaving Austin in a few weeks as it gets so hot that it's uncomfortable. Everyone that I've met down here is like, yeah, no, the summer sucks. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
got to get out.
Okay, perfect. And you do the same. I mean, you try to avoid like winter in states that are
Yeah.
really cold, I guess, right?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Okay, and this is great. I think that yeah, definitely in 30 years from now, you're gonna talk to yourself and you're gonna say, I'm so happy that I
Yeah.
made that decision 30 years ago.
Yeah. Glad I did it. There's plenty of time for me to settle down in one spot. One of the things I guess for people at home, like I'm single, I don't have kids, a family, anything like that. And, I'm aware that once I have kids, I'm gonna have to settle down because
Right,
the normalcy for them, the school district. Like I'm not gonna homeschool my kids. I'm just I know that about me.
right.
And I'm not gonna move them around every few years unless I have to. Right. So.
Yeah. Makes absolutely sense. Michael, I don't know if you know, but a few episodes ago, I decided that I'm doing a ranking where I'm asking each guest the
Mhm.
following question that I'm going to ask you. My idea
Mhm.
is basically by episode 100, just to have a ranking of the best food the owners of accounting firms. And this is the
Mhm.
only podcast in the entire world that is actually doing this. So I'm kind of proud of asking you this question, Michael. What's
Yeah.
what's your favorite food? Let me ask you that.
Pizza. Definitely. And that has been one of the worst bits about traveling around. Some of these places have god awful pizza and just
Perfect. Okay, that's a good answer, and I think it's the first one. Okay, I mean the
Oh
first
yeah.
guest was saying pizza. I'm pretty sure that we're gonna have more votes for
Yeah, if you
that
need some more
pizza.
variety, you can add a drink too.
I actually, now that you said yes, add a drink too.
Diet Coke. I'm convinced Diet Coke can fix the hole in my heart. You know what I mean? It's just
And incredibly, I agree for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah, I agree. Let me ask you a follow-up question on the pizza. I know
yeah,
in the States you have different type of pizza. So
yeah.
which type of pizza are you referring to? Like, what's the
Oh, New York pizza. Because I'm from New York. I'm from Long Island. So, I'm sure part of it is that's what I grew up with, but yeah, I love it. What can I say?
Yeah, okay, that's perfect. Well, I'm gonna write that down, and then I'll let you know when we reach 100 episodes. Any votes we
Yeah.
had for pizza. Thank you for answering me that. I want to ask you for in this year's being a solopreneur, having your own firm. Tell me like one milestone or one achievement that you maybe at the beginning when you started, yeah, you never thought about getting there, or what's the first thing that comes to your mind when I ask you about a milestone or an achievement? I'm interested in
Um,
that.
I don't know if I have like a KPI type thing where I have like a specific number, but I will say I enjoy my clients more than I used to. When I first got started, it was a lot of, and I feel like a lot of firms start this way. It's a lot of taking whatever you can get. That's just kind of how it goes. You get the clients you get, and then eventually you get a little bit more established and you niche down and you learn what you like doing, right? So in the beginning, there was a lot more just bullshit and just clients that weren't great, work that wasn't great, charging way less than I charge now, right?
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's still a way to grow and improve and this and that, but I'm happy with my firm, and I think that's a great milestone to begin with.
No, no, no. I think it's like the most important. We're spending a lot of time
Yeah,
like doing our business, and if you actually enjoy and
yeah,
you're happy doing something that we spend a lot of time of our lives, I think that's definitely
yeah.
like the most important milestone. So that's great. Perfect. Michael, I know you're really active on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
I follow you. I really like your post. My observation is that you have so much success because, from my perspective, you're brutally honest, and you just put um, yeah, basically your thoughts into words and into a post, and then you just press that button that says post, and that's what you
Yeah,
do. I'm I am trying to yeah, post more, but I spend I think that many of us we struggle a lot, and we say, all right, I'm gonna think of my ideas and write them down. Tell me a little bit about how's your process? How do you do this, or how you started, or is it you just write things on a notebook, or whenever you have
yeah.
the good idea, you just post it. Tell me a little bit because I want to learn.
Gotcha. So the first thing I will say is you don't have to post on LinkedIn. I feel like when people get on LinkedIn,
Great, great.
because like when you're on LinkedIn, I feel like there's a certain amount of FOMO involved because there's all these kind of personal branders and coaches, and they're like, you have to be on LinkedIn. You have to get so many leads. But and I have actually a post drafted up about this, but you need the right marketing channel for you that drives business.
Right.
And for some people like me, that's LinkedIn. For people listening, that may not be. And like, that's cool if it isn't. Right. That said, right, the way I kind of come up with posts is as thoughts come up, I just jot them down in Google Keep. Right. And as time has gone on, I guess I'm getting better and better of thinking thoughts and like complete posts and not having to
Hmm.
go back and edit them and reformat them, whatever. Because like at this point, it's been years, right? But I jot down ideas as I have them. Every now and then, I go through Google Keep, look at the notes I have, and clean them up. Right? Some of them are like, the idea is like 80% of the way there. Just have to finish some stylizing, add some emojis, this or that, and schedule it.
Hmm.
Right? Other times, it's just a half thought, and I'm like, what the hell was I even thinking when I wrote this down? And I delete it. Right?
Okay.
Um, Beyond that, there's no super process. Like I don't sit down to write things. There are certain topics I do talk about and certain topics I don't talk about. So for example, I don't really talk about being a CFO or what it's like to lead employees because I feel like I don't know, you
Right.
know. I don't talk about posting on LinkedIn because I personally don't like that sort of content. So I just talk a lot about tax and cash flow and whatever my little rant of the day is, stuff like that. But I've picked a lane and I try and stay in it.
Right,
You know.
right. And whenever you have like an idea or something, you're having a conversation with a friend, you say, "Hey, look, this is a good idea." You just go onto
Hmm.
your cell phone, you write that down, and then you just well, you have it there.
Yeah,
Um, okay, that's at some point in my life. I think I told you, and I thought you had some experience also with doing stand-up comedy. I don't know why I saw on bio
that's
sometime.
because no. In your defense, at one point I did have amateur comedian in my LinkedIn headline because you can put whatever the hell you want in your LinkedIn headline, and that's some people don't get. They feel like they have to go with whatever. I am just always changing it to whatever I think is funny. Like I wanted to change my headline recently to your favorite accounting influencer's favorite accounting influencer,
Yes,
right?
yes, I saw
And
that. Mm.
I think that's hilarious, but I do LinkedIn to get clients. I do it to talk to marketing agencies. So they may not find it as funny. So we'll see how I feel. I may change it eventually.
Thank you for defending me, but that's exactly why, because I saw that on your bio at some point, and I say, hey, you also, but why am I telling you all this? Oh, because me at some point of my life, I started stand-up comedy, and well, this was I don't know years ago, maybe 18 years ago, or maybe
Yeah.
20. And I'm pretty sure that I had a cell phone back then, but for some reason I had my notepad like with a pen, and
Yeah.
I had it in my pocket. And if I was in I don't know, having a
Yeah.
conversation with friends and I found something like it was interesting, I just wrote it down, and
Yeah.
then just well, basically exactly the same with less
Hmm.
technology. And this is
Yeah.
something that, well, I guess
The
I can
tech has
still
come a
do.
long way. One of the things I like about Google Keep, and you don't have to use Google Keep, everyone can use whatever they want. It just makes it really easy to resurface ideas. Like their search
Hmm.
function is pretty good. So if I want to post about something, I can, like, let's say I want to post about profitability. I can literally just search profit, profitability, whatever, and look at all the half ideas I had over the years. Right. And that's the one thing I really like about Keep over, say, a notebook, because I do like writing things down, but if I ever have to find it, it's a nightmare, you know?
You know what? I haven't been using Google Keep, and after this episode, Humans in Accounting, I will. So thank you for that tip. And this was, sorry, just one last follow-up question on this.
Go for
Was
it.
at some point you said, "Hey, I'm gonna start," because well, we know each other for a little bit over a year now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know how you were, if you were the same 3 years ago, or if there was a click at some point where you said, "All right, this is, I mean, I need to do this more often," or it was just something that happened, or something that you said, "I'm gonna commit myself
Hmm.
to do this or post X amount of times." How was
So,
the process?
so to go back to the beginning with it, I've always done my own marketing. In the very beginning, I did a lot of local SEO. That's how clients found me. I realized that in person networking is not my thing, right? I don't
It's
mind going to a
not.
conference. Huh?
Hmm. No, no, no. I thought, I mean, I know you, and I thought it will. Well, but you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. I interrupt you, but I was gonna say no.
Yeah.
In person, it's in person. Maybe it's your thing, but maybe also online, you're even better.
So what I will say is it's not that I'm not a people person and I can't make
Hmm.
conversation. You know, I love going to a conference and having drinks with other accountants and yapping. That's my speed. I cannot wake up for an 8 a.m. meeting to drink bad coffee and pretend I give a shit about the things other people are selling, you know? And that is a lot of in person networking. And, I know someone's going to reach out and be like, that's not exactly true. There's this event, that's that event. But a lot of it are these boring kind of morning meetings. And that is not my speed at all. Right. So I did kind of look to the internet a bit more. Right. I started with local SEO. Eventually, I started writing a newsletter. The problem with the newsletter is everyone says newsletters can grow on their own. That is easier said than done. You do need to funnel new people into it, new subscribers. And that is actually how I got started on LinkedIn as a way to get new people reading my
Mm.
newsletter. I don't even write the newsletter anymore. It's been like a year or two since I paused it. I keep telling myself I'll bring it back, but shorter and punchier, but I haven't. But I've kind of stuck around on LinkedIn. I think I've been at it like, I don't know, 3, 4 years or something. I don't know. That
Mhm.
sounds like a long time, but that's why. And I stay because it does bring in clients. I will say it does not bring in as many clients as everyone promises. You always see these claims where like, oh, 20, 30 clients a month. No, you know, but it brings in enough that I keep doing it. And it brings in good fit clients that know my personality and know what they're kind of signing up for, right? They want to work with me as opposed to just an accountant. And that is nice.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Let me ask you, as far as the future,
Yeah.
what are your plans for resting business pace?
Um my plan is to kind of keep focusing on my niche, right? I
Mhm.
still do a whole bunch of once a year 1040s, personal taxes, and while I'm good at it and while they make money, as everyone knows, it kind of creates this weird, not weird, but like one part of the year sucks. Two,
Right.
3 months a year, you're doing a ton of work. And nowadays, a lot of my more recent clients are on year round subscriptions, which makes a bit more money and spreads out a lot of the work. So for people on year round subscriptions, we tend to have a lot of the catch up conversation in the fall. So I don't
Hmm.
have to have it during tax season. And I'm aware of what's going on. So it's easier to, go through their work. Whereas like the once a year clients, well, we're talking in February, March. That's when they're asking questions and I have to field it while doing all the other work. So the future is continue specializing in marketing agencies. I would like to bring back the newsletter. I know I just said that I haven't for 2 years, but I would like to bring it back. And I would like to figure out the right blend of consulting for my clients, right? Because the industry loves cash flow forecasts and they love CFO and it has a place. But I also do think that these ultra small micro businesses that make, let's say, 100K a year, 200K a year, maybe they don't need a forecast. More realistically, they can't afford a forecast, but they do need help. They do need someone to bounce their ideas off of. They do need someone to be like, this is how you send an invoice and how you set up your follow up
Hmm.
sequence. You need a separate bank account. This is how you save for taxes, things like that. Right. It's
Right.
not as sexy and bill $5,000 a month like CFO, but I don't know. They need help with it, and I would like to figure out the right kind of blend to make it happen. You know?
Fair enough. Perfect. I think
Yeah.
yeah, that's that's great. And well, Michael, just to wrap up, I like in each episode just to finish with the following question, like what's a what's a good advice? And let's focus on maybe someone else
Mm-hmm.
who wants to open their own firm, maybe accounting firm, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe another business, and they're planning just to
Mm-hmm.
go solo first time.
Mm-hmm.
What's a good advice
Mm-hmm.
that you can tell this person from the future that is watching this, or
Mm-hmm.
what's a good advice that someone could have given you before you started? I'm interested in knowing
To really think about client acquisition, right? There is a, all right, so we have the talent crisis, and every accountant has more work than they know what to do with. But one of the first issues with going out on your own is you are used to receiving work from your bosses and
that.
not finding your own work. And even if you're getting your own work and you're getting paid some sort of origination fee or something, there's a difference between getting a few deals here or there and getting enough deals to make enough money to afford your life,
All right.
right? And client acquisition is, I mean, in my opinion, thinking back on it, way harder than you think it would be. You're just like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'll find clients left and right. It'll be no big deal. But you do have to find a way to get yourself out in front of people. For me, that was LinkedIn. For people listening, that may be in person networking. Some people are good at that. It's not me. But to really think about client acquisition, and if you're planning to go out on your own in the next year or two, to maybe set that foundation today, get started on, let's say you're doing in-person networking, get started building the relationships today, because you're not going to get the referral tomorrow, right? um yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Think about client acquisition, and
Yeah.
is there anything that you would recommend? Well, as you said, basically depending on what's their business and what they need to do, but
Yeah,
to think.
whatever works for you. I think there's a bit too much of trying to shove everyone into the same pigeonhole and everyone has to do the same thing. But it depends on what kind of accounting you do, what kind of clients you want to work with. Like, for example, if you're working with like restaurateurs or construction people, yeah, they may be on LinkedIn, but not in the same numbers that a marketing agency might be.
Right,
You may have better luck going to their industry events and teaching classes or networking through that industry. Find what works for you for what you want to do. And actually, another thing for people starting their firms, while I think a niche might be overrated and people are
mm,
going to come at me for that,
mm.
figure out what your boundaries are. Figure out, do you give clients your cell phone number? Do you answer emails after 6 p.m.? Where is the line for you before the client decides where the line is?
Right. My opinion on that is that sometimes when you start, maybe you don't draw any line. You don't have a
Maybe.
plan to draw anything, and then as you grow, you say, "Hey, hold on, I need a, why is this guy calling me? It's 10 p.m. It's Saturday." Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's important just to have it in mind before starting.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Michael, I'm so happy you participated in Humans in Accounting today.
Yeah.
If anyone, someone in the future, if it's watching and want to check and reach Michael, check his website, which personally I really like,
Yeah. Thank you.
restingbusinesspace.com, and they can also reach your guests on LinkedIn, correct?
Yeah. I don't think I'm leaving LinkedIn anytime soon. People could watch this episode 5 years from now. I'm sure I'll still be there.
Perfect. Michael, it was really nice having you, and well, look forward to see you in the next event in the States, all right?
Yeah. Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Have a good day.